We are back here on the School News Podcast here on MPS Voices and Jazz 88. And it is now time to talk health and wellness at Minneapolis Public Schools. And this week, March 2nd through the 6th, is National School Breakfast Week. And we're celebrating it here at Minneapolis Public Schools. And here to do that with me is Ashley Nitzkorski. I was asking her before we went on the air to make sure I was pronouncing her last name right. Ashley, did I do that correctly?
Nice job.
Awesome. Well, Ashley is a dietitian with our culinary and wellness services at Minneapolis Public Schools. Ashley, let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about your job and your favorite part of being a dietitian here at MPS.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me, first of all. So normally a dietitian is a food expert that helps people understand the role that food plays in their body and how to keep their body healthy. My role at MPS is a little different. So I do that, but on a bigger scale. So I help make sure that we're feeding all of our students the best food that we can for their bodies. And that means following federal guidelines. So making sure we are compliant with everything we have to do as a food service school food service district. And then I also make sure that our ingredients all meet our rigorous standards. So we go above and beyond what the USDA requires, and we don't allow any artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, unnecessary ingredients that don't have a functional role. And the reason for that is because we have seen the science and we know that those things are not good for kids. So we want to do the best that we can for our students. And then a couple other things that my role entails are making sure that kids with food allergies or dietary needs have safe food to eat at school. And then I also get to develop food education resources for teachers to use in their classroom. And that is probably my favorite part about my job.
So, of course, we're talking about National School Breakfast Week. Why do we celebrate this? Why is this so important?
Yeah. Breakfast in general is really important because it's the opportunity for you to kickstart your brain when you wake up in the morning. So your body's been fasting all night while you've been sleeping, and your brain needs glucose in order to function. So it needs that like simple sugar molecule to really get going. And that's why breakfast is so important. I tell my kids all the time, like, you can't start the car without starting the engine first. So making sure that you have something to kickstart that engine first thing in the morning so you can get your brain working and thinking clearly.
So I have to ask you, what did you have for breakfast this morning?
This morning I had coffee and one of our blueberry Belgian waffles that we serve at schools. So my office is in the nutrition center, where our central kitchen. So I get to taste test and have access to all the same things that the kids get at schools, which is really fun. But most mornings I try to have a whole grain something like a waffle or a bagel or something with peanut butter. Today was just a little more on the go. So something a little more convenient.
I understand that completely. I had coffee this morning. Had a couple cups of coffee this morning for breakfast, and then I had some applesauce and a slice of toast. So I kind of kept it pretty simple and basic too this morning. How is MPS celebrating National School Breakfast Week this week?
We've been working for the last couple of years to really innovate our breakfast options for students. We've heard from our community and from student feedback that our breakfasts need to be a little more sustaining to get kids through to lunchtime. So we have been trying to add more protein, making more items from scratch, stepping away from those super sugary sweet items that are digested really fast. And this week, we're really proud to debut 2 new items. So yesterday and today, I believe across all schools, they got to try our new locally sourced carrot breakfast bread made with farm to school carrots grown right here in Minnesota. And then our secondary schools got to try a new gallo pinto, which is a rice and bean dish, very traditional for Central America, served with scrambled eggs. So those are two new things that we hope students will try this week and in the next couple weeks, and then give us some feedback. Let us know if they like it or not, and hopefully we'll be adding those to the regular rotation soon.
Now, I know earlier you mentioned, how important it is to have a good breakfast in the morning. And I know, experts seem to draw a direct line from kids eating a nutritious breakfast in the morning to, having success at school throughout the school day. How exactly does that work?
Yeah, so that goes back to that like glucose needed for your brain to function. Um, and the idea is that you just want to make sure you get your brain working and then have something that's going to sustain it. So the connection between that school success goes back to like making sure that you have that alertness and that focus and that memory first thing in the morning so that you can really take in everything that school is teaching you and that your teachers are saying and asking you to do. So without that breakfast in the morning, it's really hard to pay attention. You might be kind of sleepy, drowsing in your chair. You could just, it's, you don't have the recall ability that school requires. And testing in particular has been shown to be better when you eat breakfast at school. Something about the eating really close to your testing time, where your brain is then functioning at like maximum capacity, really makes your test scores for standardized testing a lot better. And then the attendance and behavior things that teachers have seen firsthand in classrooms when kids eat or don't eat breakfast is it can be a big game changer. So if you can't focus, then you won't be able to learn anything.
Ashley Nitzkorski is a dietitian for Minneapolis Public Schools Culinary and Wellness Services. We're talking about National School Breakfast Week happening this week, March 2nd through the 6th. Just a couple more items for Ashley here on the School News Podcast. So for parents and caregivers that are listening or watching us here on this YouTube channel for MPS Voices, they want to hear from you guys, right? On, what are some of the quick, easy ways to put together a healthy, nutritious breakfast for their students. Because like you mentioned, we talk about, making a quick breakfast on the go and, when time's getting kind of ahead of us, what are some, quick and easy, healthy ways that kids can have breakfast?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I get it all the time. I have really good news for any parents. MPS provides free breakfast for all students, so the only thing they need to do is get their students to school and ask about what time breakfast is served. So every school will have breakfast ready and waiting for your kiddos when they get there, and you don't really have to put any thought into what do I have to make, what do I have to buy, how much time do I need to prepare it. You just have to get them there and encourage them to take things, to try new things, to socialize with their peers while they're there. We want to make breakfast fun and not a big um, labor for anyone involved. So we have breakfast covered.
What do you say for, those kids that maybe aren't quite into eating breakfast? I remember being as a little kid myself, waking up really early in the morning and being like, I'm not really that hungry. I don't really want any breakfast. So for those kind of kids, what do you suggest? What are some things that you can kind of offer to maybe kind of get the motor going on wanting to have something early in the morning?
Yeah, I have one of those kids myself, so I can totally relate. And what I have found myself and what I tell other parents to try is just look for one item that they will tolerate eating when they wake up in the morning. So just that one thing that's going to really get their brain going. That could be something like a yogurt or a granola bar or a piece of toast, like you mentioned earlier. Even like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on the way to school. There's all the things that you really need in peanut butter and jelly. And so even something that simple that isn't hard and it's not time consuming to make will give them a little bit of a boost. Um, And then the other tips that I'll say is like involving them in the planning of it and maybe even the preparation, depending on their age. So getting them involved in that process. But really just starting with that one item, you're trying to build a healthy habit. So over time, then you'll see maybe their appetite is more stimulated in the morning, a week down the road, 2 weeks down the road. Just something that is going to start to build that habit that then they can carry into adulthood, hopefully through their teenage years, which tends to be the hardest time for kids to eat breakfast. But we're really trying to build those healthy habits among everything else that we do as parents. So start with one thing.
Fantastic. And lastly, for you, Ashley, where can folks go to get more information?
Yes, all of our menus are available online. So you can go to mpschools.org and search for School Cafe. That's our online menu software platform. So you can see everything there. If you want to see how much school meals have changed since you were in school, then you could ask your principal about volunteering as a lunch or breakfast monitor in the cafeteria. You can go in and see firsthand. And then if you want to learn more about what MPS is doing on the big national scene as far as school food, we're working on this ingredientguide.org initiative that really tries to transform what school meals are made out of.
Awesome. Awesome. Great information. Ashley Nitzkorski is a dietitian with Minneapolis Public Schools Culinary and Wellness Services. Ashley, thank you for joining us today. Happy National School Breakfast Week to you as well.
Thank you.
And this was fun. This was great, a great conversation and a lot of really good information. So thanks for joining today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.